I just had a fucking thought. Be me. 15 at the time. Meet new kid at my high school. Norwegian, but speaks English well. Let's call him Wojak. Wojak is quiet, shy, and an introvert, definitely. No reason to talk to him, sir, I don't. One day before school I see some popular kids talking to him. Not actually having a conversation but just talking to the quiet kid as a joke. Why don't you ever talk, you totally should hang out with us, etc. It's pretty obvious they don't actually care about him. He can tell, visibly uncomfortable. Feel really bad for him. Sit next to him at lunch. Hey man, what's up? Wouldn't you know it, we hit it off. Actually really interesting guy. Has some really cool stories of life back in Norway. Tells me about how he used to go skiing, skating, etc. Tells me he went hunting with his dad even though it wasn't legal. Badass DOCX. I tell him about my life. Not nearly as many interesting stories. Whatever, I still hold his attention. We start talking more in the classes we have together. Eventually I invite him to my friend group. The boys love him. Isn't so shy anymore, gets a lot more comfortable with us. Got comfortable enough to tell me about his fucked up childhood. Otherwise very charismatic and intelligent. Funny, good at reading the room. His only issue is that sometimes he says really bizarro shit and he gets angry too easy. Like we were at a party and he was smoking a cigarette, my friend for some reason thought it would be funny to just take the cigarette out of his mouth. Wojak fucking flipped, snatched it back and shoved my friend hard. We chalked it up to the alcohol, but looking back, he definitely had some anger issues. He used to love to go hunting, but not with a rifle in the woods. He would buy animal traps from the Home Depot and wait till the animals were almost starved. Do shit like dangle food in front of them, kick them, etc. Usually he let them go, but I think that's just cause we were there. One time me and my GF at the time were in the woods for a stroll and we found a trap that he left. We had run across a few traps with mildly injured animals that he left, but this was bizarre. There was a fox in there. Its neck was turned to face the back, like an owl. It was covered in blood, and its nose was broken. Leg was bent out of shape. Worst part was it was still breathing. The fucker beat the shit out of it and left it to suffer. My GF was so freaked out she made me stop talking with him for several days. Eventually I just called him and asked what the fuck. He said it wasn't him, told me this long-ass story about how some random fox must have trapped itself and some teenager must have just beaten it. Wojak was a very smooth guy once he came out of his shell, so I had trouble not believing him. My GF didn't buy it, but when he told it to her she said it made sense. Very, very smooth. After that I never saw another cage in the forest again. Forward to my 18th birthday party. Party was taking place at a local club. This fucker dips halfway through the party. Shows up later sweaty with a red nose. Acting floaty and ethereal. Thought he might just be drunk, but his nose was bleeding. Looking back, I think it was broken. Some kid went missing at the club on my birthday. I never pieced 2 and 2 together. For the next few years he did nothing but act sus as hell. Would disappear for stretches of time. Would appear smelling like chemicals. Random blood stains, bruises. His anger was basically gone, but he was still very charismatic and perfect. That's why nobody ever thought it could be him. Never drank, never smoked. Extreme Patrick Bateman vibes. 2 weeks ago he got shot. Apparently he tried to stab someone, but the guy had quicker fingers. That's what made me consider this theory in the first place. His family is gone, so the funeral was mostly his old friends. When I realized, I spoke to my friends and then the police. Basically everyone agreed Wojak was definitely somehow fucked up. A few friends told stories about him showing off knives, saying really fucked up shit like, "I'm gonna force feed that bastard his own fingers," being kinda emotionless. We told the police and they're launching a full-scale investigation. TFW, one of my best friends was a serial killer.